Sorry. Wait. Hello, everyone. Thanks to anyone for joining. Yeah, uh, okay, good. Sorry, I was just checking that the audio would work. Actually, no, wait. So I need to check that this audio works.
So on Rittenhouse, yeah, there's absolutely no reason to go with a weapon to that protest or riot. Like if you're right and it's a terrible riot, and in a lot of ways that it was. So it's like so I wouldn't have put up the Chiron saying peaceful protests as the fires are going on in the back.
Okay, good. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I just need to make sure that pretty much the audio is working. I'm trying kind of a new thing that like StreamYards is allowing me to do. Right. So without further ado, I guess well, actually, before we start the stream, I'll pretty much explain what's happening in this video. So I think this is the first time that our favorite progressive YouTuber Destiny is debating our least favorite progressive YouTuber Cenk Uygur. Yeah, how things have changed in the last few years. But they're pretty much debating the Kyle Rittenhouse case, which for people who've been living under a rock, he's basically the guy who, which shot three people, but in self-defense, two of them died. It was post. It was after the Jacob Blake shooting, and pretty much, uh, well, pretty much there were riots, and Kyle Rittenhouse are worried about his community, and yes, it was his community in Kenosha. Pretty much decided to defend it, but yeah. Without further ado, let's actually before I start, I want to pretty much share the link. Uh, yeah. Okay. You know what? I guess we'll start now.
So on Rittenhouse, yeah, there's absolutely no reason to go with a weapon to that protest or riot. Like if you're right and it's a terrible riot, and in a lot of ways that it was. So it's like so I wouldn't have put up the Chiron saying peaceful protests as the fires are going on in the back. No, of course there was some
Base Cenk, like Cenk already makes a bunch of concessions, which is a big improvement from 2 years ago. But anyway,
fires, there was vandalism, there was danger. There's no question about that, right? You can't deny reality. Now, why would I grab a weapon and go in the middle of that? It doesn't make any sense. It's not even his community.
Yes, it was. I mean, Destiny actually says this in the next 10 seconds, a brilliant debunking where pretty much Kyle Rittenhouse lived. No, sorry, Kyle Rittenhouse worked in Kenosha and his dad lived there. So yeah, he was here pretty like big, stake in the community already. Also, well, I guess even if Kyle wasn't living in the community, I guess one reasonable like motivation would be to be like a hero, to do activism, to defend private property, which I think vigilantism, while is well intentioned, is not very wise. So while I can get why leftists are like concerned about the vigilantism aspect, if Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't living there, it like that isn't Kyle didn't necessarily have malicious intent. But I don't know. I guess that's a whole other thing. Yeah. So I'm trying to like share my stream right now.
So the obvious, well, I mean, it was his community, but like the obvious comparison would be like the rooftop Koreans during like the Rodney King riots in LA. Like, do you think that does anybody in the United States have any sort of moral right to defend communities that feel attached to, or do you think that's just something
no, Stephen. So I think those are two very, very different things. Look, you got a store, you worked your ass off for it. My dad's an immigrant. He worked his ass off. He built his own business brick by brick. And you want to protect that. I hear you, brothers and sisters. Okay, I got you. And
I do like how Cenk is still meting the opposition. He's I don't know, he's kind of improving, but like I don't know, in my head he's always like the worst SJW in my head, along with Anna. But we'll see. Maybe they've definitely changed a lot to the point that like even the Serfs is attacking him, and Jimmy Dawes attacked him for different reasons. Who else has attacked him? That I'll continue on with the stream.
And these days, there's a lot of crime. You want to protect your family? Absolutely, I get it.
Oh yeah. Also, Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian, and TYT's anti-crime arc that's always been interesting, which shift to the point that almost every lefty has been like roasting them. Like I don't know what lefty is. I think maybe most of the left is now against him. Like, and I don't mean like disagreeing with them on like the crime stuff. The vast majority disagree with them, but like it would. I mean, there are still probably like lefties like Karl Klinsky and I think Samsida and Emmy of England who would still like maybe respectfully have them on, but like again, I'm saying lightweight too many times. Sorry about that.
Okay, but he didn't live there. I mean,
again. I don't know if you could say he lived there, but his dad lived there. I think Destiny says that Kyle lives like 15 minutes away from Kenosha, like and that Kyle lived there, so he had a significant stake in the community. I think it's also possible that his 21-year-old friend at the time also lived there. And I think also when the lockdowns happened, maybe Kyle was like forced to like stay there at the time or something. I saw like a Natural Justice Warrior video, but like some of the information I said about Kyle's friend, like don't quote me on that since I haven't like looked through it myself. But I would suggest watching Natural Justice Warrior for like the Kyle Rittenhouse content. It's really good, especially with his legal background.
Cross state lines.
Just real quick, because I lived in Nebraska. He crossed it was a 15-minute drive. He lived like 15 minutes away. And I lived in Omaha. There's a lot of towns that you drive out to that you're like part of those communities. A lot of people in Council Bluffs go to.
Why?
Because
why go there?
Why not? Don't you believe in freedom of movement? Like Cenk, are you an anti-immigrant now? But the funny thing is, I'm actually pro-immigrant now. I'm kind of quasi-open borders. Like, I don't know, it's like, me and Cenk switch positions. It's just like some weird like Southern strategy or something. But like, I don't know.
Well, why? I mean, like, people don't talk about it, but like, like the day before the Rittenhouse thing happened, there was that older guy, Robert Cobb. His business had literally been burned to the ground. It was being arsoned, and I think he was running around with a fire extinguisher trying to put it out. And people,
and what was Rittenhouse going to do? Was he going to sit there and shoot everybody that came by?
He shot 3 people. I mean,
oh, Destiny. I mean, I wouldn't use that point, but Destiny has a point. But I don't know. I wouldn't use. But
what do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, but that's my point. He went there to go shoot. In my opinion,
okay. You have no evidence that like Kyle Rittenhouse had like any intent to like kill anyone there. Sure, there's a gun, but like gun can sometimes be a deterrent measure. Like it was a violent place. Honestly, I think for Carl probably didn't think he would have to have had to use the gun in the first place. Carl probably thought it was an unlikely scenario. Of course, the scenario still happened, but he didn't think he'd have to use it. The gun was probably a just in case measure, and the case happened anyway. But as we all know.
He went there not specifically like in my mind premeditated. I'm going to go and murder some people on the left, and I'm going to feel great. No,
sure, but like
citation needed, like legit citation needed.
Wait, but
I'm
then when you
go
look
with
at
a weapon, and if there's any kind of provocation, I might get to use it.
Again, that I would like some evidence in like Kyle's mind.
Yeah, but I mean, we can say that, but when you look at the evidence. There's just no evidence. There's nothing that supports that.
No, that's 100%. Look, he goes there with a weapon. Mm-hmm. He goes to provoke. Then, why did he?
Where did he provoke? Is carrying a gun provocation automatically? I know there can be like problems with open and carry, but like, like that's not always the intention of like the person in it doing that. Like I understand if some people are worried that like person carrying a like openly carrying a large gun can be provocative in itself, but like the person carrying it isn't necessarily trying to provoke anyone.
You shoot the first guy.
He shot the first guy because the first guy was chasing him in a parking lot. He'd already made threats earlier. That's on camera, and he was lunging for Rittenhouse's rifle after a guy behind him had fired a shot with his pistol. After Rittenhouse turned around to see where the noise was coming from.
So, but Stephen, I think that you're proving my point, which is
I don't think so at all. I think it was
Hold
it
on.
was. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me explain.
Go ahead.
So you go into this what you think is a dangerous situation. You go in there with a weapon. Then you hear a shot. That's true. There was a shot. He heard it. He didn't see where the shot was coming from. He just turned around and shot the guy.
He turned around and shot a guy that was lunging.
Reckless.
No, it wasn't
reckless.
It wasn't reckless at all because he only shot the guy that was lunging.
Wait, did I miss anything? So I think I was looking at something. Wait.
You go into this what you think is a dangerous situation. You go in there with a weapon. Then you hear a shot. That's true. There was a shot. He heard it. He didn't see where the shot was coming from. He just turned around and shot the guy.
I mean, like, I'm sorry, but like when you're in a situation like that where someone shoots, if you look behind, because there's a chance that if you don't react quickly, that another bullet could go through you. Like, yes, Kyle didn't know, but if he didn't react, then he might be dead.
He turned around and shot a guy that was lunging.
Reckless.
It wasn't reckless. It wasn't reckless at all because he only shot the guy that was lunging for him, trying to grab his rifle. This is indisputable on video. The guy was chasing him down. He turned around. He was lunging.
Can I come to your house? Mm-hmm. Can I come to your house with a weapon, and then if you grab for it, I get to shoot you?
I mean, yes, but like, just if you were in like Destiny's house, Destiny wouldn't need to let you in anyway. So,
if probably, yeah,
like you could go like that, just like carrying like and like weapon. Like if hypothetically Destiny doesn't like you carrying that weapon in his house, then he Destiny just doesn't have to let you in. But like you could still like openly carry a weapon and come in like the house, and like I don't know, you could Destiny could be like inviting you for like tea or something, but then some weird like argument happens which has nothing to do with like what happened before, like no premeditated, like there's no evidence of premeditated murder, and then like out of anger Destiny lunges at you and tries to take your weapon when he had no reason to, and then the tragedy happens where Cenk shoots Destiny, although I'd rather like it would be the other way around. Like, of course, draft is wrong either way, but if I had to choose, that might get me cancelled. Although, considering how many people hate Cenk, I might actually get let off on that one. Oh, poor Cenk.
If you were in my house,
crazy.
No, hold on, wait.
Crazy?
If you come to my house and you have a weapon on you, and we get into an altercation, I'm gonna grab that gun from you. Of course, you have a right to defend yourself, especially if I was twice your size.
House with a weapon in the first place. What am I doing there?
Hold on. You shouldn't be in my house with a weapon because I'm on private property.
Yeah, like Destiny has every, freedom to like not let you in. Has every right not to let you in. So, yeah, as long as now, if like Cenk say like breaks in, like kicks the door open or tries to like threaten like Destiny to like let him in, then yeah, that already would be like grounds for like murder if that happens later, because like Destiny isn't willingly letting you in his property. So yeah, like Cenk like willingly like Cenk like hypothetically like breaking in, that would give like Destiny every right to like for justified self-defense and even like murder, and that would like pretty much like Cenk would have no right for like self-defense pretty much.
The city of Kenosha was not private property. Rittenhouse had just as much a right to be.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't tell my family that I'm streaming, so yeah, sorry for the interruption.
Be there as any other protester did.
So listen, I'll give you an analogy. January 6th. I'm very upset.
Yeah, actually, Kyle had every right, pretty much. Like, he had way more right than, like, I think Rosenbaum. Like, most lefties don't even talk about, like, how, like, you know, a lot of the rioters and, like, it crossed state lines. They only focus on, like, Kyle Rittenhouse, the guy who was defending himself.
Upset about it. I don't like what happened there at all. I think they were trying to undermine our democracy. If I went in there with an AR-15 or any kind of weapon and I looked for a threat, I'd definitely find one, and then I'd get to kill everybody that I thought was a threat.
I mean, with, like, you know, January 6th and Capitol Hill, like, you might not be allowed to have guns in the first place again. You know, it's a certain type of, like, public property. I'm pretty sure, like, a certain people, the people who are in charge of Capitol Hill, they have every authority not to let you in. Now, if you're outside of Capitol Hill, and you're open carrying, that's fine, as long as you aren't, you know, trying to, like, find someone to pick a fight with. Now, if someone, like, sees you with a gun and tries to fight you, that's a whole different story.
I mean, that guy you say is lunging for his weapon. From what I
again, like, the, you know, people, like the people in charge of, you know, the Capitol Hill building, like, making sure they don't let in, like, protesters in with, like, you know, armed protesters in. That's the same logic with, like, private properties. So yeah,
saw that guy's trouble. I get it. He was troubled, I should say. The first guy who got killed, right? And so he goes, maybe he went looking for trouble too. I don't know, right? But he threw a plastic bag that had plastic bottles in it.
Wait. The plastic bag had Rittenhouse didn't even see the plastic bag. The issue was no, but the issue is Rittenhouse was running away. This guy was chasing him, and when Rittenhouse turned around with an assault rifle, the guy went to grab the rifle from him.
No,
that's a pretty clear cut. Like, guy was chasing him, and when Rittenhouse turned around with an assault rifle, the guy went to grab the rifle from him.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you shouldn't be grabbing, you know, people's rifles as long as they aren't a threat. Just because a person has a gun or is open carrying doesn't automatically mean they're a, you know, threat. What matters is intention, and maybe, like, negligence. If you're, like, misusing the weapon and you accidentally misfire, then, you know, they themselves can be a threat. But, like, as long as they know how to use the weapon properly, and they aren't, like, hurting anyone or using the weapon to threaten anyone, and then you have no right to, like, pretty much take their gun away.
No,
that's a pretty clear cut. Like,
Stephen, if we fall, and then he got hit with then he shoots and kills someone. Then he's running through the crowd. He's made the situation 10,000 times more.
He's not making this. He's running away from the.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm just. Yeah, I just want to see. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just. Oh yeah, sorry guys. I was trying to pretty much maybe try. Sorry guys, I was trying to experiment with, like, the layouts. You know, I'll do that, like, after the stream. So yeah, sorry about that. Which tab was it again? This one again. Sorry guys.
He's running to the car.
Through the crowd. He's made the situation 10,000 times more.
He's not making this. He's running away from he's running to the cops to try to.
Yeah, based Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle has actually been doing, like, everything right. So yeah, like, I'm really getting annoyed with Cenk these days.
Which is exactly what he should.
Why am I saying that? I'm always annoyed with Cenk.
The crowd is everywhere. The crowd is everywhere. He's running through the crowd, and then somebody sees that he shot someone, and they go after him with a skateboard, which I wouldn't have done, right? But now he shoots and kills the guy with a skateboard.
Yeah, because the guy.
a skateboard can be like lethal, and if hit hard, actually Cenk uses a stupid argument of like downplaying like the lethality of an effing skateboard. Oh hi, Akshay, Kumar, great to see you. Yeah, thanks. Great to see you too. You too.
I try to assault him with a skateboard. If you had a bat, we'd say the same thing.
Steven, yeah. Okay, look, couple of things. Everybody's different. Everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
So I get it. Some people will be scared, and if you get hit with a skateboard, you think, all right, I'm going to murder that guy. For me, I get hit with a skateboard, I don't shoot the other guy.
Cenk, if somebody hits you with...
well, Cenk, I guess you have a lack of self-preservation.
I get hit with a skateboard, I don't shoot the other guy.
Cenk, if somebody hits you with a skateboard in the face, there's like a 20% chance that you die. A skateboard?
Okay,
Skateboards are a big thing.
Chance.
Okay.
Oh my days. You remember? You guys remember like the latest like Stephen Michael Davis video, where like Cenk pretty much like discards like probability theory from Sam Harris, where like when Sam says there's a very little chance of like God existing. I personally, don't believe this, but like I understand like Sam's point how it can be very unlikely. I can understand Sam's point that it can be very unlikely for God to exist. But then Cenk says, no, there's a 0% chance. And I'm like, oh my days, this is not the atheist argument. Like, there are much more atheists that are saying, basically, yeah, I agree that it's a possibility of God existing, but it's a very, very, very small possibility. And the burden of evidence is on the religious person. And we have very little to no evidence of God existing. So it's, the atheists would say it's also unlikely there's an invisible like sky monkey existing. We can't see it, but it's possible. But they'll just say that the probability is negligible. But Cenk not understanding probability he would think that's zero. Like negligible would be close to zero, but my mother's singing. Oh dear. I did not tell them I was streaming. My days. Okay, anyway, the 20% chance. I wouldn't take those odds. Like, Cenk, I would say, like, if you are armed with, like, an AR-15 and go to protest, the chance that there's violence is very low. But Cenk would tell Kyle Rittenhouse not to take those odds. But it's way, way lower than 20%, and Cenk wants to take those odds. Like, I mean, a lot of us would probably survive, like, a skateboard. Like, I'm too weak. I need to, like, build up muscles, so I definitely wouldn't survive. I say the average person can, but, like, again, like, you'd probably not be robbed if you open your house door for the whole day and, like, left it for a whole day. I assume you won't get robbed, like, if you talk about probability, but, like, still not a good idea to do because the risk is high, which is in the case of being like all your stuff being robbed, like if you leave your house opened, or that like being hit by a skateboard means you die. So PS risk doesn't just mean probability, it means like the magnitude of the thing that's happening times the probability, like the probability times, I don't know, that the magnitude would in this case be death. So like 20% times death is okay. I'm speaking in terms of mathematical terms, like stuff with like expectation probability. It's kind of fun stuff if you like and do maths. But I guess I'll resume this.
Hey, that's great that you would, but I wouldn't compel a 17-year-old to take that chance in the middle of the month, especially
20% chance, Cenk, 20% chance. And like, if Cenk wants to like criticize me for not having like this to like handle a skateboard, that might be true in the sense that I still need to like exercise and build some like muscle. But even a skateboard, 20% chance, like, granted, I haven't like looked at the data for this, so it could be wrong. But Cenk is
especially
skateboards can be hard. They may not be like used usually as a weapon or designed for weapons, but they can still be used.
But well, the people that beat that one dude within an inch of his life, Robert Cobb, the day before, that everybody that went to this protest, they'd all seen videos of that. That's why people went to the riots the second day. That guy got beat to an inch of his life with bare fists.
Yeah, fisticuffs. Like the humans can easily, the human body can be easily killed, like easily. Like George Floyd, like he was like killed with like like knee on the neck. Like skateboard is much more dangerous than a like knee. You can die from a knee. Sure, like maybe one hit from a skateboard won't kill you, but like given enough time, in that skateboard can kill you if like the would-be murderer you tries to like use it in certain ways, like just throws it, hits you on the head, maybe tries to also choke you out somehow, or like human beings are very creatively destructive. It's very worrying. Like Counterpoints has this belief himself from his experience from his like army days and police stuff.
Stephen, if you say, hey, listen, I see an altercation on the subway, the bus, the street, and I'm going to go protect not even a family member, but a random.
Thanks, Kumar. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well too. And great to see you as well.
A woman walking by, working class person, and they're getting picked on, and I happen to see it, and you jump in. I got you. You
has to. Why? I don't think it's necessary to put working class person there. Like Cenk, this isn't a class war. Like, I mean, but like,
okay, and I actually appreciate you, right? But you make an active decision to drive into what you think is a riot and a dangerous situation with a weapon, and then you get freaked out by the plastic bag and a shot you didn't see and a skateboard, and you kill 2 people. That's on you, brother. You never should have gone there in the first place. You were looking for trouble, and then you found it, and then you cry like you're a victim? Oh, hell no.
There is no evidence that Kyle was looking for trouble.
Even the problem here, sorry, one more thing.
Go for it.
The problem here is that if we follow your way of thinking about it, and you tell me otherwise, of course, so I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think if we follow that way of thinking, then everybody's going to grab a weapon. They're all going to be in the streets. And the minute anybody looks kind of funny at you or throws a bag or you hear something that's loud or there's a guy with a skateboard, boom, 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 we're shooting each other to no end. That's why stand your ground is a disaster. And wherever they pass stand your ground laws, you have more homicides every time.
So if you have videos coming out of people,
maybe I'm not that well versed in gun control, but it's a topic I'd like to like look into more of. But like, I guess that's for another day.
People who are losing their businesses, who are getting beaten by people on the street, who are rioting in a city, the next day people are going to show up to defend that town. Like,
yeah, like riots are pretty economically destructive. I've actually done a video on it. Let's see. Back in the day, it was 2 years ago. I think it was maybe November. I think it was after Kyle Rittenhouse incident. I think it was in August 2020. But my video was in was when I think November 2020. So I think a few months after. Yeah, it was based on the George Floyd riot. I talked about how the riots pretty much increased insurance rates. I called it economics of rioting. I would recommend the video.
We live in the United States, whether we like guns or we don't. That's the reality of it. Rittenhouse had more of a
I also posted it in the comments.
Right to be there than any of the rioters that were there after dark, that were setting things on fire, that were causing. He had just as much as right to be there, if not more than any other person. And in the United States, you are allowed to carry a weapon on you as well. The idea that he was shooting Rosenbaum because he threw a bag at him, that's just not true. We can watch the videos a million times. Rosenbaum was already getting.
Yeah, I think I'll.
On 25th May 2020, George Floyd, a black man, was killed.
I would recommend, watching this video, since it pretty much goes through a lot of the problems with riots, how it increases insurance rates, and how here's the thing, you know how people say that insurance will cover the riots. There's a big problem with that, because there's a limit to insurance. There's a maximum amount that it can cover. So if the insurance damages to a business was £350,000, but the insurance only covered £250,000, then you're still on the hook for £100,000 in repair. Did I say pounds or dollars? You know what? British supremacy. The pound is stronger than the dollar. Our currency is based even after Brexit. Rosenbaum is racist confirmed. Cancel Rosenbaum. Yeah, actually, Kyle Rittenhouse cancelled Rosenbaum very hard. Fudge. Yeah, I forgot. Okay. Oh, this is a funny one. Jack Conway said, Destiny, I struggle to take him seriously. Too simply, too soft socialist. Okay. You know what? I disagree with some of his like sock them takes, and I do not like how he's, yeah, he's basically a cuck, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way, because I like Destiny. Like, I don't like how he approves of polyamory, or his open relationship with his wife Melina. Like, I support monogamous relationships. Also, if you don't like the birds chirping outside, I'm sorry, but I opened the windows. It's because it's really hot in the UK. I know it's not hot for some of you. I know some you. I know that 30 degrees isn't hot for some of you. Annoying Americans, and with your like uncivilized heat over there. But in the UK, we're a reasonably cold country, and frankly, we cannot, handle such third world heat. We don't have enough. So I'm basically opening the windows. So sorry again for like the birds chirping. But again, he does make some decent capitalist arguments that are arguably like better than some libertarian YouTubers even. And he does, and he is an improvement on a lot of lefties in pretty much when it comes to social issues, where he steelmans them way better. He steelmans both left-wing and right-wing arguments and social issues, and he tries to bridge the gap in the center. There are still things I disagree with Destiny on, but and I even made a video response against him on like Asian immigration and the model minority stuff. Actually, I'll talk about Destiny maybe at the end after this live stream.
A deluge of shootings of innocent skaters now by young boys with AR-15. So I mean, it doesn't seem like the landscape changed very much.
Right.
And I mean, skateboard, like, yeah, I mean, in the United States, with a guy with an AR-15, that's about what I would expect to happen. And I mean, we're a year or two later. It's not like there's been a deluge of shootings of innocent skaters now by young boys with AR-15. So I mean, it doesn't seem like the landscape changed very much.
Jordan Peterson is very happy, since he basically like wanted. He at one point wanted like parents like let children like skate. It's an interesting one. He's basically trying to say to let children be free and I guess make their own mistakes, which is a reasonable point. Although like Peterson's kind of drunk like the Kool-Aid a little bit, like when it comes to the culture wars, as like woke wine virus, like saying that like and Russia has like half a decent point in invading Ukraine because of wokeness rather than like a lot more like complex, I don't know, geopolitical stuff. I feel like wokeness might be a small factor in Russia and like invading, but like without wokeness, like the Russian invasion would have happened in Ukraine, and Ukraine isn't even woke. Like, but
No. So Stephen, look, there's a couple of things here. So number one,
just to clarify, when I say wokeness is a factor, I mean like Russia sees, I don't know, some of the like annoying woke stuff in the West, and I don't know, they're kind of being hyperbolic towards it by being hyper like conservative in their own response. No, please say it as it is. Speak your mind. Better to be blunt. I have good friends from the UK. Love the famous UK dry humor. Thanks again. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, but yeah, American humor is pretty good too. But like, uh, I guess you get like different stuff with like maybe British dry humor on TV and like the funny like provocative humor of like American stand up.
the jury gets to decide whatever they decide. And so if they decided, hey, you know what, that was enough of a self-defense, okay, that's what the jury decided. So I'm telling you my perspective on it, and I okay, that's what the jury decided. So I'm telling you my perspective on it, and I get that you might technically get away with it if it's a skateboard and you felt, oh my god, the skateboard's a little dangerous, and the guy lunging at me, you know how many guys have lunged at me in my life? If I'd have killed all of them, I'd have killed like 20, 40 guys.
Okay. Wait. Is it like lunged as in a friend or lunged as in a stranger? Because that's massively way different scenarios. Also, yeah, Eastern Europe is pretty much less woke. For better or worse. I'm pretty mixed on like whether or not Eastern Europe being like woke is a good thing. Then again, I'm mixed on like Western Europe being like more liberal as a good thing, because there seems to be like drawbacks and benefits to both, since like both hard left and both like hard right stuff can like lead to like less rights for like certain people. Yeah, Cenk talking like he's Rambo. Yeah.
Okay, so there's the, hey, should he be guilty? That's up to the jury. There's, should he have done that? And I think that's crazy that he went there. He definitely should not have done that. But
I'd say this, like, it may have not been the most like responsible thing, but again, he saw like his community like being destroyed, and while it's something I would prevent, like especially since he was 17, was underage, and like he shouldn't have been carrying that like weapon. And however, at the same time, the rioters shouldn't have like destroyed businesses and increased like insurance rates and like discouraged business investment. Actually, definitely makes his point even like later. Uh, um, yeah. Well, what was I trying to say? I think how Cenk, you're annoying my thought process. Um, yeah, like Kyle was also trying to like he was trying to be a good Samaritan. He was trying to like help a business clean like graffiti out when he didn't have to do that. There's there is like honor in that. Pretty much, uh, basically, he risked his own like life and social status trying to be a good Samaritan. And even though I don't think it would be responsible in certain aspects, I'd still respect Kyle for that, and also think he was kind of irresponsible.
to your point of like, oh, me saying, oh, Republicans want violence from time to time. Oh, that's crazy. No, they're just like us. No, there's polling. 28% of Republicans say that it's time for violence.
I think I've seen that polling too. I think maybe it's slightly more than Democrats, but again, there's a significant proportion of Democrats that say they want violence as well. If I need to like look at the polling though, so it's very, yeah, it's very polarized. Yeah. Also, someone also it's being argued in my comments that the center left is getting less comment. Maybe if you're on YouTube, that's or in Twitter or anywhere online, that's definitely the case. In real life, I'm not sure. There is, I definitely from 2016 to like 2020, that was definitely the case. But now, even though the far left is getting stronger, the center left is kind of getting radicalized and starting to get stronger in a way. Like one of the reasons I think that there's being less, conservatives is because I don't know, or less right wing people is because a lot of the online right made and some anti-SJWs made some dumb arguments, so a lot of them started getting into this spread tube pipeline. But like once I don't know, some of the online right were getting decimated. All of the reason a lot of the online right was getting decimated is because uh, these kind of bread tubers, including what we would now call including like Destiny, who might not be a bread tuber, like they had to like adjust their points. They had to like take into account some of the points that the right and anti-SJWs were making because they were kind of decent points, and then adjust it. But like a lot of the far left couldn't deal with like these new wave bread tubers. So, well, actually not. Most of the bread tube is still pretty far left, but a lot of these center left types got tired of like the stupidity of the far left, and now, even though these actually a lot of SJWs started to get annoyed with even further less SJWs, so and a lot of anti-SJWs got like sick of like further right anti-SJWs and conservatives, and now there's this new center that's kind of merging. It's really weird, and that's kind of what Destiny represents. And it's oh yeah, the conservatives are bad at marketing. Oh yeah, I'd say so. Oh yeah, the left is eating itself. But yeah, there's this comment made by Jack about Kyle Rittenhouse. Was also the fact that the people who were chasing were not good people, not the crowd, but the people who were in front chasing him. Yeah, like almost like the vast majority of the left, unless they're like questioning it, never like assign blame on Rosenbaum or Rose Scoots. Maybe the third guy, Rose Scoots with the gun, might have had a point because he may have not seen the entire altercation. So when he saw someone shooting, he may have got scared and shot himself. But like Rosenbaum, he wasn't a good person. He deserved his fate, frankly. And Kyle was running away.
So that's a giant number.
And it is, but I mean, for Charlottesville, as hateful as that riot was, they weren't destroying the city. I think that's a key component that, like, not to mention, and for Kenosha, that city was being destroyed off of misinformation reported about the Jacob Blake shooting. And there were videos of like people getting attacked.
Yeah, I don't think Cenk mentions anything about like Jacob Blake here. So, I'm pretty sure he believes the Jacob Blake story. So it would be interesting to see like his response to Destiny on that. But I don't think he gives it here.
Act of car dealerships being set on fire. It just seems like there's remarkably little empathy for the people whose community. If you go to Kenosha today, if you go downtown, there's still shit that's boarded up that has never opened again as a result of those riots. And people are just fixated on the people that were, I mean, as shitty as it is, defending their community against who they perceived as outsiders that were coming just to destroy it. But
yeah, so look, I keep saying last thing because we're so
sure. Yeah, sorry, yeah, go for it.
One more last.
Okay, that just reveals how much K-pop I watch.
Fixated on.
I'm gonna be roasted by like my right wing audience. I don't know, maybe, but anyway, yeah. On that point, like everyone like boarding up their property, that hits on a much larger economic point. And the problem with the riots, when we look at it from an economic lens, I've talked about the insurance rates, how it increased. But another thing is business investment and business confidence. When you have large scale violence, it destroys property, it destroys investment. I guess it might as well destroy savings. It destroys stability. So when you have areas like that, businesses who may not have businesses there yet, but they are thinking of like investing there. They decide not to because they realize that that capital and their businesses will be destroyed since they're at risk of the riots, damaging them. And it's so other than like profits being like lost as all of like legal liability stuff. I mean, like your employees could get hurt, and the business could be a little bit responsible for that, even though they had nothing to do with that. There's of course insurance rates, which again is another problem, and so you'll have less businesses investing there, less productivity, and also some businesses currently being there. Other than the fact that they'll be destroyed, if they aren't destroyed, they might leave. They might leave. So yeah, like the riots aren't great. But yeah, I guess this is a final decent comment to end off on. Yeah, I guess the left is eating itself, and you know what? I guess that's a good thing. I don't know. Eventually, there's going to have to be an endpoint or something with this woke stuff and cancel culture, because they're attacking, their own. But now, a portion of the left that's to the right of, the a lot of the far left, but like hates, conservatives and wants to also cancel them. They're starting to like attack back, like in a similar fashion, and so I don't know. There might be a chance that is if like conservatives don't conflate like every little thing from it in what to like woke from like a potato like changing its gender to like a guy being cancelled because he said the N word on in a tweet like 5 years ago. But yeah, it is pointless, my fellow brother. Thing is, regarding poverty, even if they are insured, it is tricky. Like who gets it? Also, businesses are leaving left-leaning states here in America. Oh, I enjoy Douglas Murray. Oh yeah, Douglas Murray is pretty good too. I've like started to get more left wing on immigration, but he's almost sensible like on immigration. But I would like to make an immigration video, but I haven't looked at through all the data on it. I'd love to like, I guess I'd probably would love to like see his arguments for it, so I can have a good steelman. But yeah, he's pretty great. He's pretty reasonable, like moderate. He does, and yeah, but yeah, I'd love to like talk, but I think I've pretty much said all I wanted to say. Thanks everyone who has been like watching my stream, and also thank you to any future people who watch my stream. Thanks for coming, and see you later. Thank you for watching my stream. Yeah, thanks, and bye.